Hello, and welcome to Startup Stories with Scaleway, where we explore cutting-edge startups around the world and how they leverage cloud computing technologies. I am your host, Ethan Pierce, and today's guest is Agnieszka Jankowska from Sara AI, an AI-powered conversational assistant. Welcome, Agnieszka.
Hello, Ethan. How are you?
I'm well. I'm excited to dive into our topic here and to learn more about what you guys are building at Sara. Maybe to give give our audience a little bit more context, because we discussed this before in our details, but just it's always good for people to have that brief elevator pitch to understand what it is that you are doing and working on at Sara.
Okay, so let me just help myself out with one example from pop culture, let's say. Do you remember? I think you do remember this series called Knight Rider.
Yes.
Yeah. So, when I was a kid, I absolutely loved it, and what I loved about it was that, apart from the fact that the protagonist had an amazing car, but James Bond also had amazing cars. But this car was actually an intelligent car. It had not only this set of gadgets and trinkets and stuff like this, but also the protagonist could have a logical, almost human to human conversation with that machine, right? So basically, if I could compare Sara to anything that we know from pop culture, I think that it might be actually this car. Why? Because Sara is another kind of artificial intelligence. Let's say that it's not constructing something from the scratch, because innovation doesn't only mean building something from nothing. It also you should also benefit from what's already there, but it also it consists of giving the artificial intelligence or assistants that we know contemporary ability to analyze, ability to do cognition, not in in statistical mathematical way, but in a way of sort of imagination. So the vision of Sara AI is creating an artificial intelligence with the intelligence or way of thinking of a 4-year-old child, but with access to all the knowledge that is online. That's basically it. In in a nutshell, because it's far more complex than it seems.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly complex as a subject, and I think everybody is used to things like Siri or the different home devices that they might have that they can speak to. But what you're trying to build is actually a device that can also then do all of those typical things, but then also have a conversation with you about other topics. Correct?
Yes, but actually, I would have to correct you on this matter. Sara AI is not a device; it's an idea. It's
Right.
a system. Sara AI is the project that will take more than 1 or 2 years. It's something that's in macro vision is going to take a little bit longer. But there are products. Yes, there are devices associated to Sara. For example, Sara Cam. That is a B2C kind of device. There's a product in development right now. That's going to be based on Sara, which is going to be directed to customers for your household, for your everyday life, yes, situations, and also Sara Vision, and this product is supposed to meet the needs of industrial market. Yeah, so Sara AI as a whole is not a device; is a system that's gonna be used to support those devices, the other devices that I mentioned, and also be an entity, be a system itself, a solution.
So I'm always interested then in how things like this get started. You gave me the great story then of kind of being inspired by Knight Rider, and that idea of being able to have the discussion in both ways, where it's able to do things but also to be able to speak with you and truly be intelligent from that perspective. Where did this idea come from to inspire the team? What really was the thing that made the founders want to start this company?
Well, actually, the core of Sara AI are the founders that you mentioned. It's Jarosław Maciej Matuszewski and Artur Majczak, and the second one, he is the programmer who had this vision, who had this inspiration to make this artificial intelligence. Why? From what he told me, because I'm the, let's say, youngest part of the team, he was inspired by his daughter. Simple as that. All I think all great ideas come from everyday life, and he just wanted something at first to help his daughter, do her homework in an intelligent way, not just Google stuff. Yeah, not just like another other kids. The kid was needed some more, maybe not supervision, but something intelligent enough to have a sustainable conversation, to reply sometimes in a witty way, because Sarah can be witty. So this was the beginning, and then it's throughout the years, and some thinking over it, they say, wow, we can do it, we should do it, because that's something, first of all, it's not there yet, and it's surely will be needed.
Well, I think it's interesting. You mentioned, the having an AI powered assistant that kind of has the it's kind of like a 4-year old, but has access to the world's information through the internet, and it's very
Mhm.
true that a lot of the assistants that are AI powered at this point are very young in terms of we're not talking about an adult intelligence, but the reality is the ability to have access to all that information means that simple questions and ordinary simple conversations can still be very rich because of the access to all of the information that could be pulled in
Mhm.
into a conversation. So I think that's really exciting to see what you're working on, and where that goes. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the technology of your services and how
Mhm.
that works. And it's obviously we're talking about a cloud-based service where people are conversing with Sara, and then there's obviously infrastructure behind that is processing that conversation in order to provide the responses and create the conversation. What does the technology look like for Sara AI?
Okay, so as I mentioned it before, invention is not always something that's built from the scratch. Sometimes it's based on other solutions. So we openly say it. We base some of Sarah's solutions on Alexa. Amazon gives permission to use Alexa as a base for our own developments. But like if we imagine it as like bricks, we have natural language processing, which Alexa is based on, and then we have Sarah, because natural language processing is what is learning on statistics, basically, of on the sequences of words you are given, on some content that you are given by the internet, and so on, so on, so on. Nothing that comes from natural interaction. With Sarah, we have another level of learning, because it's like, as I mentioned, Sarah is like a child. So who has the biggest authority over a child? Who is the who knows everything according to the child? The parent, yeah. If parent says something, then the child will believe it, because it's a parent, of course. Child has critical thinking as well. Sarah, if something feels odd to her, she will check it online. If, for example, if you are saying that the dog is meowing instead of barking, after several times you repeating this, she will be like, well, Googling it, simply saying, because something is odd. But generally, it's the parent who gives Sarah her identity, because she has an identity. Is the parent who teaches her about things, about customs. So, for example, if you Google tree, what is a tree? A normal assistant would say, would give you Wikipedia definition what a tree is. Sarah, dependingly on how you communicate with her, she might as well say, well, it's this big plant that, for example, there are these big plants growing outside in our yard. Because if you take her outside, she will recognize them. Yeah, she recognizes your face. Like you say, "Who's my daughter?" Oh, your daughter is, for example, Alice. Yeah, she's right there. She cannot Google it. Probably, or I don't know if you have children. It's just it's just speculations. But for example, people don't put their child's images on the internet. Yeah, which is safe. Normal assistant wouldn't have any means to identify the people. Sarah would have this ability because she can identify not only faces but also associate them to certain family members. She knows who, like she knows your relations. She can identify you, and she, apart from the web, she gets her information from natural process of learning in the household.
So as you build this out, you mentioned the software, obviously, side of Sarah powering
Mhm.
all of this. You also mentioned the consumer and the industrial hardware products that will be coming as well. How would you distinguish yourself from the competition when we talk about Siri or Alexa or other things? What makes you? You've mentioned a bit of this on the conversational side, but are there specific things that you would highlight about how Sarah is and will be different from the vocal assistants that people are used to?
Well, first thing I'll have to highlight is that Sara AI or Sara Cam, so the product associated to Sara AI, are not intending to be Alexa's or Google or Microsoft competition, because it's like a complementary thing, not competitive. This is we shouldn't be perceiving it in this way. Especially that I already mentioned that we are using Alexa solution to build on top of it. So I'd rather not put it this way. It's like it's a solution to make your life easier. Simple examples like from everyday life. For example, you are changing a light bulb in your living room. Yeah, normal people don't usually put this on their Google Calendar or anywhere else, because these activities are minor activities. Or you are opening a bottle of milk in the refrigerator. No one puts things like this on their calendar because they have far more important things. But these little things, these little details, can make influence your life, of course. So, for example, if you see that something's wrong with your light bulb, you can ask Sarah. Well, if you, of course, tell her, when did I change the light bulb? And she tells you, oh, you changed it on this day, or you changed it 2 months ago. So you think, okay, so something's not, there's nothing wrong with the light bulb. There might be something wrong with the lighting system. While opening the bottle of the milk, you just say, Sarah, okay, I'm opening this. She registers it, and then sometimes she will tell you, look, you're running out of dairy products. Yeah, simple as that. Leaving messages to each other, or imagine you are having a date in the movies, and Sarah, of course, knows that your date is at 7 p.m. and the traffic is heavy. So, based on the traffic and on the time or distance from the cinema, she can just say, "Oh, Ethan, get out because you'll be late for the movie."
So there's obviously then personal use that you're building into this for people to use, and then companies as well. What would you say, people that are listening to this? What's the profile right now of people that should contact you to talk more about what you're building? Is there a product? When will there a product be available on the consumer side? What kind of companies should maybe contact you to talk about your commercial, like your more industrial or institutional, uses that you want to work with? People listening to this, who should be contacting you to talk about working with Sara AI?
Actually, as I said before, Sarah is a solution that can be applied both to B2C kind of business. So it can be a regular household, for normal everyday living, to make it faster, easier, and sometimes more synchronized. As for companies, Sarah, as for example, Sarah Cam, yes, as this solution, can be used as an advanced assistance for management. When it comes to Sara Vision, though, it's an advanced detection of image. So instead of the image detection that we already know, which requires around 1,000 images of the same thing to make the system learn how one thing looks like. In this case, we just need two cases, or two images of a certain object. And then Sara Vision recognizes it. And imagine a big warehouse where you have a line of different products and different configurations. You know how it can be. Like some things, you never get a perfect picture, a straight picture of the item you need, and Sara Vision is able to recognize it. So it can be people who are interested in making their lives more comfortable. So this is the first group. There can be entrepreneurs of any kind that need or more advanced intelligent assistant, or a system that would help them categorize their products or count their products fast, or detect things, get their help them make less mistakes during the production process, and so on. So these are these two groups, and of course those who would like to look at it in a more macroeconomic scale, a more macro scale, in the way that Sara AI is something that is not only these two products I mentioned. There's a whole process that's going to take more time, but there will be more solutions, more devices adapted to the needs. So any kinds of visionaries, any kind of people who would like to contribute to another approach of this cognitive approach of self-learning, spontaneous sometimes artificial intelligence.
So we are talking about the startup stories with Scaleway, and so in that context, let's talk about cloud computing infrastructure. Obviously, machine learning, artificial intelligence, NLP, these kind of things can use a tremendous amount of processing power, both to train the models, but also then to be able to actually interact and have those conversations. What are your needs in terms of infrastructure to build and power Sara?
Well, honestly, when it comes to Sara as the whole idea, I am not a technical person. As you probably know, I'm a PR specialist here. So there is a team of 8 people somewhere there when I'm talking to you, working on this infrastructure. However, what I can share with you is that when it comes to a smaller project, which is Sara AI, we're constructing a prototype right now with Mind Sailors. It's a company here in Poland as well. So soon we'll have this prototype ready with the whole camera thing. So the Sara AI that would be able to see you and react to you. So this will be the first step for interaction. And about more specifications, we invite everyone who would like to observe or contribute to this development to our Kickstarter that's going to be launched in the end of October, or in the beginning of November. We'll inform about it on our social media and on the website. So all the specifications about infrastructure and about the materials used will be put there.
So actually, that's my last question, which you probably answered partially there, but there might be more, which is what's next, what's coming, what's in the pipeline for Sara?
Well, so yeah, that's what I think I went ahead of myself a bit here, mentioning Sara AI. So this is the assistant, this personal assistant that's going to be available for everyone. Just please don't confuse with Sara AI. We have like Sara Artificial Intelligence and Sara AI. Sara AI is going to be the eye in your house, but in the good way, the eye that's going to help you out with in everyday issues. So in the end of next month, we'll be launching a Kickstarter campaign. So any of the founders who would like to contribute to this product, please feel invited at least to check what's baking there. And check our social media as well. And as I said before, Sara Vision is another step which is being developed parallelly, but it's not going to be a tangible product as like Sara AI. It's going to be an industrial solution that we're going to inform later on, both on our website and social media.
So, if our listeners are curious about what you were building in the conversational assistant space with AI, encourage them to reach out and get in touch with the team at Sara AI. Thanks so much for this discussion, Agnieszka. It's a super interesting topic, and I appreciate you taking the time. And I wish you and the team all of the best as you scale up Sara.
Thank you, Ethan, and thanks to all the listeners. And hope we'll get in touch.
And thank you as well for joining us for this episode of Startup Stories with Scaleway. If you're a startup that uses cloud computing resources, be sure to check out Scaleway's startup program at scaleway.com. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or your preferred podcast platform, and check out all of the previous episodes of the podcast. Again, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.